About the first session.
I feel wonderful. I love technology and math. We're so happy together. ISD. I teach 5th grade math. This is my 18th year teaching. I know some people say 18. So yes, I've been teaching since 1999. 2000 was my first year teaching. I started out in 2nd grade. I've done so many things since then. I was out of the classroom for 2 years as a master teacher, didn't like that. Went back to the classroom, and I've been teaching 5th grade math since then. I work in, which my principal just told me, the poorest zip code in the city of Houston. But it has been such a rewarding experience, because you see a lot of times it's not the students, it's what the students were receiving before you got there. This year we had huge gains. I ended up with 86% of my students passing the Math STAR test. So that was something that had never been done at that school. I think 5th grade we ended up with 80% this school year. I started with Flipgrid because I needed engagement too. I taught 3 sections of math. So the first 2 sections, you always have that group that's moving. Then you have that group that's, you know, they're on grade level, and then you have that other group. Yes. So they started, Flipgrid started as something for that 3rd group. They were out of control, first of all, behavior off the charts. Now I've been teaching a long time, and that's not my first rodeo with students like them. But they gave me a run for my money. And then Hurricane Harvey hit. I had a tree fall on my house. It was crazy this year. So I had to find something quick. And I have been teaching a long time, and I've kind of gotten bored with not teaching math, but the delivery of it. And mathematical thinking, Flipgrid, and student voice, and then it's going to be your turn. And I teach 5th grade, so the problem that we have is a 5th grade problem. That shouldn't be a problem for most of you. My friend, she's an art teacher. She was like, no, I'm not smarter than a 5th grade. So, but it's not too hard. It's something very simple. The lady that I met in a Facebook groups have been great for me. And she introduced me to this book. And it got me to thinking about my own experience with teaching math. And I didn't read past the first chapter because I stopped. Because I realized that the way that I was teaching my students, was I teaching for understanding or was I teaching for knowledge? And I can say here that yes, I was teaching for knowledge. Because at the end of the day, the students have to pass STAR. If you teach 5th grade, if you're from Texas, you know that we have 6 months. We shove 9 months of curriculum into 6 months. So I stopped at this first chapter. Now, culturally responsive teaching in the brain, that book was very powerful because it made me realize that the students that I was teaching, I was doing a disservice to. Because creating dependent learners. I was the person with all the knowledge. The children depended on me. They didn't move to the right unless I told them to. They didn't move to the left. There was no voice. The students, all they could hear was my voice. And that's what I created. So if you look here, the dependent learner, dependent on a teacher to carry the most of the cognitive load. I was doing all the thinking. I was tired at the end of the day. When I would flip some of my lessons, that would be the best day of my life. I didn't have to think. And then what would kill me is the kids was like, but I didn't get that in the video. Well, you can't rewind it. We'll do it again. You find yourself repeating. And I didn't realize how much I was repeating and saying things over and over again until I started flipping my lessons and doing other things. So this is what I was creating. So in the book, Creating Cultures of Thinking, they talk about generative topics, meaning just looking at your curriculum. What do you want to teach deeply for understanding? In my curriculum, which 5th grade, is fractions. And it's the algebraic, like the X and Y, which you'll see, because I know those topics, they have to do with slope when they go into middle school. I know this. So I chose to focus on those two, my fraction unit and the multiplicative patterns and additive patterns. Just setting some goals that are doable. What do I want to really teach for understanding? And then the performances. What type of complex activities, which Flipgrid was mine. They may not think it's complex, but it's complex for us because some of my students, that Flipgrid, they would not get on it because they were not used to hearing themselves talk about things that, well, academic things. They talk all day about, what is it, Fortnite? How to make slime, put glitter in it, have your room smelling like detergent. Yes, that's what I went through last year. So they can talk about those, but to talk about things academically, it was uncomfortable. There was an uncomfortable period that we went through that they would not do it. I had some kids, well, what if I get it wrong? It's okay. They don't have to feel every frame, but I require them to feel the first 3. Most of them, like my higher level kids, they'll go to the end. So that's what I use. It's very simple. If you're going to start out integrated, start small, something real simple, because the kids are going to be really, really excited about it. But just like I was saying at the beginning, what level of understanding do you want them at? Mine was very surface last year. I have to agree because they were regurgitating what they learned, which that's where they were. But eventually, like this year, I'm going to start out earlier with Flipgrid. So hopefully by the end of the school year, we'll be at a deeper level and I can play the explanation game and they can show it in Flipgrid to where, oh, I can take this concept and use it a different way. I can take this concept and I see it in here.
Don't use my government name.
It's on Twitter, so unless you can send it to me.
Stop it. Take the picture.
That's why God give you 2 hands.
Okay. I know. Do it. Hey, don't do it straight. Can you do like a little angle, please?
Look.
No, it was that face. Oh, perfect. I'm just gonna take off my my tippy toes. Do you need any help setting up? You good? Okay.
Honey, this is when I do